Yeah, looks like I'm gonna have to go all the way back down. Oh, there's a 2-track road coming off over there. Huh. Off of that lookout. Well, I mean, what's the worst that could happen is I'd have to ride up that bitch in Mountain Road again. Alright, 1 mile ahead. Maybe that could get me back on the road. God, this bike flicks so easily. Woo! Back on the gas, scraping my foot almost. There we go. God, it just feels like it's, you know, I actually picked my foot up a little bit. I don't know how much ground clearance this is, but it feels like it has 6 inches or something like that. God, just the way you can flick this thing around. Man! Well, I've had a good day. I don't know about you, but even if I rode back home right now, I'd consider it a win-win. I need to get back on the northbound road. Which I believe is that road. There's the bicycle dude. Alright, so I'm just going to do the, look at this guy. Jesus Christ. What the hell are you? He's on his phone. Alright, I'm not going to stop too close to him. I don't want him to think I'm his friend or anything like that. Hey, he's going to give me a ride. That would be a negative. That would be negative. Huh. Alright, well damn it, we have to go back up that mountain. That's just great. Could be worse things, man, I tell you. Oh, look at it. Yeah, speaking of could be worse things, you're in a like 20th low gear, and you're trying to get up this hill on a bicycle, fully loaded. Now, if that's what you like to do, buddy, more power to you. Me, I like doing that. God, I'll be back in Phoenix by the time he gets up to the top of this thing. Don't that suck? You get up to the very top and realize that the weather's turned to shit. Now you're gonna have to fly down the hill in the rain. Going down the hill would be cool. That'd be a lot of fun on a bicycle. Geez, what time in the morning did he have to start to be right there? Where the hell did he start from? Yeah, this sucks. I have to go back to this. This is torture. Yeah, look at the big dark clouds there. Well, we'll give the run. You know, once we pop over the top of this thing, we're kind of on the forbidden side. But we are also climbing up to it, so maybe things will be rosy and merry on the other side as well. Yeah, not a bad detour. Definitely do this ride again. I'll tell you, that little windshield really makes the difference. I've had the XR out on the road, the XR650, where it's got no windscreen. And having this little guy just keep the blast off your upper body is just amazing. Then pulling the visor off is a big deal too. I think we're going to make the inside pass. I'm drafting, accelerating. That's actually 65. It's probably, damn, those bikes. Come back into the corner. Feel like I'm going to drag my feet. Here's where we turned off the Granite Mountain Hot Shots. Yeah, right here it just feels like rain. You can feel the dampness. 25 miles an hour. All right. Another silky smooth downshift. I have my toes curled up because my boots pointed up, I should say, because it just feels like there's the road we're on. Because it just feels like you gotta drag your feet on this thing. Just get it lean way over, even with these Canada 270s. You know, the old Tractionators, they do very well carving lines on the asphalt. You know, once you get it leaned off the main center knobs for traction, look out, there's something up there. Yeah, they have really good road manners cutting through the corners. You know, there's still a lot of knobs on the side. It's not like the motocross hobby. All right, excellent. Like I said, it's been, see, I came up here in 86. Back when I had my Trans Am, 82 or something, probably I came up here. Oh, there's a little restaurant, very cool. Way better than Taco Bell, but it's one of those things where it was getting late in the day and I hadn't eaten, so while I was stopped at the same place for gas, they went ahead and got me for a couple burritos and a Nacho Belgrano. Yarnell, simply you got it. Jeez, I don't know what I was talking about. There's so many things you're looking at and stuff, so I'm sure I have to slow it down some. I'm sure of it. Yep, 35. This little town would just love to make some revenue off me. In way of a speeding ticket. 34! Nailed it. All right. I hope you're enjoying your new panoramic view without the visor in your way. Yeah, let's buy that statue. Clutter up my yard. The old days, back when I was growing up, back when you had filling stations that actually did service work, engine work. You'd pull up. I remember my parents pulling up because I used to ride with my mom and stuff, and like everybody, what am I talking about? But yeah, you pull up to the gas station and someone comes out. You know, you pull up, you hit that little bell, ding ding, that little tube thing, and guy'd come out. Yeah, how much gas you want? Oh, fill her up, or $5 worth. $5 worth was filling it up basically back then, depending on how big of a car you had. You know, if you're talking 40, 50 cents a gallon. The earliest I recall was when I had my little Suzuki 90, and I would ride in the field across the street from my house, and there was a little convenience store like a Circle K or Mini Mart type thing. It was called U-Totem, and they were kind of big in the valley at the time. And I remember pulling up to the pumps on my little Suzuki TC90, the little 8-speed dual range, Peoples Valley, all right. And I remember the gas was 27 cents. And I gave the guy 27 cents a gallon. And I remember I gave the guy like a quarter or 35 cents or so, 25 cents a gallon on a I think it was 8 or 1.6 gallon gas tank. Man, a lot of cheap fun. Still cheap fun. All right. Yeah, definitely cooled off. I wouldn't mind having the vents in my jacket closed. Maybe I'll stop up here and do that. You live in the city of Phoenix, it's just crowded and busy, and you think the whole state's like that. But here on a Thursday afternoon at 3:45, there's not hardly anybody on this road. All right, biker up here. All right, give me the wave. Yeah, it's definitely cooled down. I think I can't handle it. It's kind of hard to retain body heat when you've got your shoulder vents wiped. And I think up here I'm going to, yeah, there's the Bradshaws right up there. I was wrong before. That was Yarnell Hill. So Yarnell Hill's back that way. We just ripped up and down that twice. Bradshaws are up here. I'll leave the camera on until I get to Kirkland Junction. So, anyway, and then you ride all the way up to the top of that to get to Crown King. And I say Kirkland Junction, I think of Petticoat Junction. Anybody know that old show? As a kid, you didn't think nothing about it, but the town of Hooterville, and it's a story about 3 good-looking females. Grandpa Joe's moving awful slow, and then you had who was it, Kate, the mom? So, kind of a questionable show there. We got gas, 259, that's cool. How many miles? I got 36. I'm still doing pretty good. Oh, I see my zipper. Oh, and I'll pull over and get my vents closed so I can start kind of saving up some heat here. The back one's all leave open. I went back to Ohio one time in a Thunderbird like that. My cousins, Jack and Gloria, they came through and they had a couple kids. They were from Ohio and they were out somewhere out there, maybe California or something like that. And they stopped by, visited, and then next thing I know, they're asking me, hey, would you like to go back to Ohio with us? And I was like 10 or 12 at the time. I go, yeah, that'd be great. And the only thing I remember that hurts worse than this DR650 seat is, of course, their kids got the good seat in the back, and those cars didn't have a lot of room in the back seat. Good for kids. But I sat on the hump, the transmission hump part where it had like no padding all the way back to Ohio. That's probably where I got my Buns of Steel started, so I can endure this DR seat. It was on that trip back to Ohio in a I think it was 65, 66 Thunderbird, something like that. My dad had a 63 that was really nice. 62 was really nice. Yeah, I'm glad I closed that. Next stop will be getting my big gloves, which we may do up here. Nice thing about my bigger gloves is they have cuffs, and they're leather, and they're made for cool weather, but they have cuffs on them. I think that's going to pull over here a ways. One car behind me. But they have cuffs on them where keeps the air from going inside the jacket. And I think if I do that, I'll be fine and dandy. Yeah, I got one car behind me. They can pass me because I'm looking for a place to. And there's on this jacket, there's a big pocket right in the back, right waistband area. And that's where I keep my gloves at. Although I think I may have thrown them in the... No, they're still back there. I was going to say, I think I threw them in the saddlebag, but they're still back there. So when I find a spot, I'm going to switch gloves. You know, it was warm in the valley, so I put these little Western Safety Harbor Freight mechanics gloves on. But now the rest of the ride's going to be, all right, where are we at? Hi, Prescott 29. Badass. All right. All right, bro. How you doing? Woohoo! All right. You know, if it sounds like I'm having fun, you're damn straight. This is badass, man. You know, I don't know what that guy was on, but this DR, I'm doing 65 speed limit, and it's, like I said, it feels like it wants to go faster. I'm the one holding it back. Grandpa Joe's holding it back here. Grandpa Dave. And it's very stable on the road. You know, we don't have a whole lot of wind today, but you know, it is very good for this. It's lower than the XR and stuff. And, this is definitely the road warrior of the two bikes. There we go. All right. So we are going to, I got no one behind me. We're going to pull over here and get my other gloves on. Hopefully I'll have enough camera space on the card. I never know what's going on with the drift camera or anything. Be nice if they had a remote. So, all right, so I'm going to reach behind me. This is always a trick. Getting this zipper pocket behind you. I'm just an old guy. I'm not limber like I used to be. Okay, I have them. Aha! They even say Suzuki on them. And then I will put these guys back there. I will have them for the next ride, because I will be wearing these all the way back down to Phoenix. So yeah, we'll get 29 miles to Prescott, and then yeah, a little bit of wind. Fortunately, it's at my back, and you know, the sky's not bad. You know, and I have been blowing. Let's see. Let's tighten the cuffs up a little. There we go. And then these big old gloves, they're leather. And they fit over that and block all that wind. Ah, Suzuki DR. Woo! All right. What up, bro? Tay the Chip. All right. All right. And I'm still sniffing. I did get a message when I was looking at my phone. It looks like the ear, nose, throat people. Now, see, that's better. That flows all the air over. I have nice leather. Okay, here comes the truck. And we're going to get the hell out of here. All right. Woo-hoo! All right. Oh, what a boring ride. What a nice shade of gray. Having a ball. Having a ball. Oh man, there's a dirt road that goes that way. That way. And that is Ruger Ranch Road. Very cool. Prescott's where they make some of the models of Ruger rifles. So maybe that's like the owner's house or something. I tell you, Ruger, boy, once the old man died, they really started getting creative. He was kind of a stickler for doing things. Once the old man died, man, the factory took, the Ruger took off. Throwing out all kinds of cool creative weapons. All right, way better. I have no more air going up my jacket. The vents are closed. They're still open in the back, but that's fine. The air's not getting through the leather. It's not getting through my sleeves. Huge improvement with those two things. Three things in the visor. Got a cool ride. Hell of a bike, man. This thing just zooms along the highway. My friend who has one of these, he doesn't do any highway riding on it. And, you know, I could see his point. You know, crazy drivers and cars and stuff, but this is just so worth it. I mean, this is just so nice. You know, I don't plan on doing the off-road today, but you know, to be able to ride back and get a trail, and this is more of a final test run for the bike. Get some miles on it. But yeah, what a beautiful ride. You know, I guess just what you're into, you know, so. Gotta go home and I bet you'll sleep like a baby. Like I said, it's probably Skull now. Cool. Next trip, Skull Valley. That's the thing. This just leads to the next trip. You know, you go, oh, Skull Valley. And I believe that's the mountains out over that way. But that's the thing, you go, well, Skull Valley's cool, you know, or I could go up into Bradshaw's. You know, get Kirkland Junction, right? Dirt road. You know, it's almost endless possibilities if you have a good running, reliable Duel Sport. And there's no reason I should be able to put 15,000 miles on this thing, you know, over the years. I mean, I see these things with 30, 40,000 miles, and they're still going strong. You know, and it holds 2 quarts of oil, and I have plans to change the oil every 2,000 miles. You know, so I think if you keep the oil changed, the filters changed, this, you know, it's got that huge oil cooler in the front. I think this thing will serve you well.